I find myself in a very strange predicament as a hardcore Xbox fan because obviously there's some issues going on with the Xbox that I wasn't even 100% sure of, to be honest with you. I thought that this was something of a bit of an issue, but I didn't realize the extent of the issue, and to see the fact that IGN was actually kind of calling out Microsoft on this, wow, I mean, really just kind of blows me away. And you know what I mean? And I think that's something that a lot of people can, just kind of put in the feather in their cap or whatever when they look at this kind of stuff and go, that's just incredible stuff. That's just, to me anyway, this came out of the nowhere. But IGN actually going out there and talking about this. I want to jump into this right away because I'm curious to a lot of people's thoughts and how they feel about it. I'm still digesting it, so I'm going to let you know as we go along. But according to this, Microsoft's Xbox Series X DRM shows it's not serious about game preservation, despite what Phil Spencer says. And Phil Spencer's recent comments on the matter make it all the more farcical. So, again, Phil Spencer had made some recent comments about this. Is that something that really bothers you? I don't know. Hey, it's Crapgamer Reviews, your hardcore place for Xbox gaming news and everything on YouTube. As you know, I am hardcore, so I can speak for the hardcore. None of that other nonsense around here, even though we do both like PlayStation as well, and we also, just think Xbox is super hardcore. And, I got the tattoo to prove it, folks. So, Xbox boss Phil Spencer claims that the industry should do more to preserve its history and its games. He made his comments in a recent interview with Kinda Funny Video. You guys maybe watch that. He says, I really wish as an industry we'd come together and help preserve the history of what gaming is about so we don't lose the ability to go back to it, he said. I think about what the Paley Center did for TV. Paley early on saw the TV industry was getting ready to literally throw away the tapes that these old TV shows were on, and they said, hey, I want to archive those because at some point somebody will want to go back and watch the Ed Sullivan Show or something. And those things shouldn't be thrown away. As an industry, I would love it if we came together to help preserve the history of what our industry is about so we don't lose access to some of the things that got us to where we are today. Now, Spencer's comments are very Spencer-like, very admirable, very good guy. They seem tone-deaf and disingenuous when you consider the Xbox Series X and the DRM that it's actually laden with. And this was something that really surprised me. According to a video from YouTuber and game developer Modern Vintage Gamer, the Xbox Series X is unable to play games without connecting to Microsoft servers. He tried games off a disc like Rise of the Tomb Raider as well as Hitman 3, and both refuse to work offline. While Microsoft recommends keeping your Xbox Series X as your home console in its settings, it's a solution that's described as a band-aid, quote-unquote, as it doesn't seem to work with every game as it should. Native Xbox Series X physical games like Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition work fine. It installed off the disc and ran as it should offline. This should remain, in theory, should mean that games that are solely for the Xbox Series X should work both offline and online. However, with Microsoft's focus on smart delivery, it means that the current crop of Xbox Series X discs that run on Xbox One as well are essentially coasters and non-usable. All of this essentially means that you won't be able to play your Xbox games when Microsoft decides to take its servers offline. This makes game preservation on the console near impossible. If Microsoft was serious about game preservation, Xbox Series X DRM would be removed. Spencer's comments were noticed by video game preservationist group Does It Play, and they said, remove the Xbox DRM then, the account tweeted. Actions speak louder than word. Now, here's the other thing. After they tweeted this, Xbox fans attacked this account. They actually attacked the account of Does It Play, and now Does It Play isn't going to be doing any more of these type of things where they kind of test these things out. They're just not going to do it anymore. And the reason why they're not going to do it is because, they get attacked, they get threatened. People were saying, some pretty ignorant things. I get it. And you know what? I think that it's nonsense. I don't care if you're an Xbox fan or a PlayStation fan, whoever. Like, we all say this stuff in kind of actuality or whatever. We all kind of just sit there and go, oh, well, there's this, that, or the other thing. But for me, personally, I feel like at the end of the day, we're all fans here, and we don't need to take things so far. I think that that's really something that we probably should avoid doing. So for the simple fact that there is a line, and there's a fine line, and I think that we should all make sure that we kind of respect that line. I think that that line was kind of crossed when it comes to certain types of things. So there are concrete business reasons obvious for this kind of heavy-handed policy to be in place, but they're in sharp contrast to Spencer's statement in favor of video game preservation. And to make matters worse, he later claims in the interview that Xbox Live and Game Pass are methods of preservation. Considering the means of access and complete control lies in the hands of the corporation that it could at any given time decide to cut you off from playing your games doesn't really make them solutions for preservations in any real way either. Of the late, gamers are grown increasingly aware of what appears to be console companies exercising a near obscene amount of control over their games. Sony really was taken to task for its heavy-handed policies regarding PS3, PS4, PSP, PS Vita, and most recently the PlayStation 5. Safe to say Microsoft has been no better in this respect, and Spencer's comments are very funny at best, when in reality the company has been working towards a future where you have less control of your games than ever. Now, this is what I've been saying. This is a very harsh article, a very honest article, and I have to say I honestly enjoyed the frankness of it as well, because let's just be real here. I say this a lot, and in all seriousness, I know that people like give me crap or whatever for the hardcore Xbox stuff or whatnot, but I'm just trying to be honest about this, right? And like, I enjoy Xbox, and I think Xbox is going to be fine in a couple years and things like that. But I also want to point out that I feel like, I feel like that Phil Spencer does say a lot of things, and then doesn't actually come through with what he's talking about. Or there's situations where he says things that sound nice, and I say stuff, and I've brought this kind of stuff up before. I've said, well, yeah, Phil has said this at times or this at times, but at the end of the day, realistically, Phil Spencer, it's a business. He's the head of a business, and it's all about money. And it's the same thing for PlayStation, mind you. Mind you, it completely is the same thing for PlayStation. So, when it comes, I don't know about the DRM, I'm talking about the business side of things. So, it's a very scary situation when they start talking game preservation, and, this IGN article is right, and it's not even a US article. This is IGN India. So, the fact that they said this is very telling. You would probably never see an article like this from like a US place or whatever, but it is true. How can you talk about game preservation when your ultimate goal is to get everybody to subscribe to Game Pass, where you own none of the content, and it can change at any time, and your games can be cut off at any time? This is a very serious thing, and I don't understand why so many Xbox fans kind of play it off like it doesn't exist, or like or like people should just kind of avoid talking about it. Like, not talking about this stuff doesn't do anybody any good at all. Honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't do anybody any good whatsoever. And, we keep seeing this kind of stuff happen time and time again until somebody comes out and actually says something or does something about it. Like, Microsoft talks a good game when it comes to this stuff, but at the same time, you have to be able to back that up. And, if you're not able to back that up, then unfortunately, fans are probably going to be, a little bit miffed. And I think that Phil Spencer should probably clarify and come out and talk about what's going on here, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, for them to be doing what they're doing and then talk about, hey, we're all about, being able to go out there and, make these things right, and talk about games and talk about how we want game preservation and things like that. It's not right to talk like that and then at the same time not actually have that going on. You know what I mean? And remember, what got Xbox One in trouble from the get-go was this whole DRM thing. Just because, just to be honest with you, just because you sit there and have this service out like Game Pass isn't really a right to kind of go back and kind of underhandedly do this. Like, in my opinion, anyway. Like, I'm still an Xbox fan. Honestly, I know there's some shtick going on with that, but I'm just being honest. I still am an Xbox fan. I just think that you can't say one thing and then do the exact opposite, kind of behind their back. It doesn't make sense. You have some loyal fans there that trust you. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Fact 'em up. Crapgamer out.